A seismic shift may be unfolding in Brea. And Browns Nation, you won't want to miss a single second of it. A thunderous trade rumor is rippling across the NFL, and it centers squarely on our very own Cleveland Browns. We're talking about a blockbuster move that could revolutionize the wide receiver corps for years to come. So go ahead and smash that like button, because what I'm about to unveil might just reshape Cleveland football as we know it. Picture this. Two of the league's most dynamic, electrifying receivers, Jerry Jeudy and Chris Olave, lighting up the field together in maroon and orange. Yes, Chris Olave, the same Olave who torched defenses at Ohio State and was snatched up by the Saints in the first round just a few years ago. But here's the twist. This isn't some wild rumor born in the depths of fan forums. It comes directly from Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer, one of the most well-connected, credible insiders in the business. According to Breer, early in the offseason, both the Browns and Steelers reached out to New Orleans to inquire about Olave. The Saints, standing their ground at the time, turned them away. However, don't forget, the Saints are quietly teetering on the edge of a rebuild, even if they refuse to admit it publicly. And get this, Tyler Stowe is currently slotted as their starting quarterback. Let that marinate for a moment. This is an organization staring down some hard truths and difficult decisions. Now swing it back to Cleveland. If there's one thing we know about Andrew Berry, it's this. The man is a certified wide receiver trade architect. Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, Jerry Jeudy. He's orchestrated this kind of shakeup before, and he's not one to take no for an answer. Just look at how long it took to land Jeudy. That negotiation dragged on for over a year after Denver initially shut the door. The Olave pursuit could follow the same script. Let's be brutally honest. Cleveland's current receiver room feels underwhelming. Jeudy, for all his talent, ranked 5th in receiving yards last season. That's not Roan status when you stack him against the NFL's top dogs. Then you've got Mike Woods, who's barely cracked 100 yards in his entire career, and yet he's sitting as your Row 3 Deontay Johnson. The guy couldn't stick on 2 different playoff rosters last season and essentially forced his way out of both. You tell me, how confident are you in that being your long-term answer? Now imagine this, a war duo of Jeudy and Olave locked in for the next 3 to 4 years. Jeudy just began a new 3-year extension. Add Olave, exercise his 5th-year option, and slide a multi-year deal across the table. Suddenly, you've built a dangerous aerial arsenal, the kind that gives your quarterback a real fighting chance to succeed. Because let's face it, you can't fairly evaluate a quarterback when he's throwing to receivers who wouldn't even crack the top 3 on a legit Super Bowl contender. But hold on. It gets even crazier. Albert Breer didn't stop at whiteout drama. He dropped another bomb. Joe Flacco is reportedly the front runner to start week 1. Yes, 40-year-old Joe Flacco, the same guy who was chilling on his couch last season before getting the call from Cleveland. Flacco didn't just show up. He elevated the squad, guiding them to the playoffs under near impossible conditions. But just when you thought it couldn't get spicier, it does. Kenny Pickett, the former Steeler, is now making major waves in OTAs. That's right, Kenny Pickett in orange and brown, and according to reports, he's already receiving a healthy dose of first-team reps. Let's break it down, Browns fans, because what's brewing in Brea might just detonate into one of the most pivotal moments of the entire season. And yes, it's deeper than just a quarterback battle. This is about direction, identity, and the long-term DNA of this franchise. First things first, Kevin Stefanski isn't exactly handing Joe Flacco the reins just yet. And why would he? It's May. This is a valuation season, a prime window to assess the potential of younger talent, Kenny Pickett, and promising rookies Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. Most NFL teams don't carry more than 2 quarterbacks on the 53-man roster. Some even opt for just one, keeping an emergency QB on the practice squad. And with Deshaun Watson unlikely to start in week 1, for better or worse, the Browns are staring down a crowded, high-stakes decision. So now you're asking, do you keep Flacco and Pickett, or does one have to go? Remember, Gabriel and Sanders aren't going anywhere. Gabriel was a 3rd-round investment. Sanders, he's viewed as a potential franchise cornerstone that leaves Flacco and Pickett, 2 very different quarterbacks with wildly different implications. Now imagine this. Flacco looks like your best short-term option to win right away, but Pickett outperforms both rookies. What then? Are you seriously going to cut Pickett just because he's not a 40-year-old veteran with a playoff run under his belt? Especially after trading a player and a 5th-round pick for him. On the other hand, are you really committing to Joe Flacco, a guy who might have 1 decent year left while letting a younger, more mobile Pickett walk out the door? This isn't just about depth charts. This is about locker room morale, long-term vision, and sending the right message to a fan base that's been stuck in quarterback purgatory for a decade. And speaking of that grim trivia, if the Browns start anyone not named Deshaun Watson in week 1, they'll join the Broncos and Commanders as the only teams to start 8 different quarterbacks in the last 10 seasons. 8, let that number sink in. No franchise wants that stat on its resume. So when the Browns face the Bengals at Huntington Bank Stadium to kick off the 2025 season, there will be yet another new face under center. Will it be Flacco, Pickett, Gabriel, or Sanders? That's the question echoing through every corridor in Berea. But wait, it's not just about the quarterback. This wide receiver trade saga has real legs. The Saints situation, it's not just background noise. It's the spark behind this entire rumor. New Orleans is aging. Their top talent is on the wrong side of 30, and with Tyler Show as their starting quarterback, they're looking less like a contender and more like a team inching toward a reset. If there's any organization ready to push the rebuild button, it's them. And that's where Andrew Berry steps in. If there's one thing we know about Berry, it's like he's aggressive, calculated, and unafraid to pull the trigger on a move that shifts the future. And Chris Olave fits the bill perfectly. Now visualize this. Olave returning home to Ohio. Buckeye fans already living and breathing Browns football would absolutely erupt seeing one of their own donning the orange and brown. Pair him with Jerry Jeudy. And you don't just have a functional receiving corps. You have a dangerous, explosive, culture-defining unit. This wouldn't just be a savvy football decision. It would be a statement move, a declaration that the front office is done accepting mediocrity and ready to build something enduring. But here's the reality works. While Berry works the trade lines, Stefanski is neck-deep in a quarterback dilemma. So let's pose the tough questions. Do you trust Flacco's veteran presence, steady leadership, and playoff-tested arm, even if the upside is limited? Or do you roll the dice on Kenny Pickett, a younger, mobile QB with more uncertainty but potentially more long-term reward? And what about Gabriel and Sanders? These aren't just camp bodies. They're strategic investment. Gabriel, a third-round pick, isn't getting cut. Sanders, a potential future face of the franchise, needs time to develop. So here's where you come in. Browns Nation, drop your thoughts in the comments. Should Cleveland go all in on Chris Olave? Type yeah for yes or N for no. Who should be Kwane when Cincinnati comes to town in week 1? Flacco, Pickett, one of the rookies. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got breaking analysis, exclusive updates, and the realest Browns talk you'll find anywhere. Let's build something that lasts. Go Browns. The NFL doesn't deal in second chances. Sometimes it barely offers a first without a battle. In a league that glorifies potential, right, up until it falters, sliding down the draft board can feel like a death sentence, unless you're built different, unless your drive isn't rooted in praise, but purpose. What if the quarterback the world doubted is already reshaping the narrative quietly from within the Cleveland Browns facility without needing a shred of external validation? Nearly a month removed from being selected in the 5th round, Shedeur Sanders has landed in the heart of one of the most chaotic, talent-heavy quarterback rooms in the NFL. With Deshaun Watson sidelined by an Achilles injury and veterans Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett in the mix, plus fellow rookie Dillon Gabriel, it's a crowded, combustible group. When asked about Sanders during media availability, head coach Kevin Stefanski didn't flinch. He's working like crazy. In a room overflowing with experience and expectations, Stefanski sees more than a day 3 pick. He sees focus, ferocity, and the presence of a player not here to survive, but to lead. Earlier this week, Sanders inked his 4-year, $4.06 million rookie contract. But his message wasn't about the money. It was about the mission. I don't ever focus on the negative, he said. I'm truly thankful for the opportunity. The gratitude is genuine. But so is the grit. The chip on his shoulder isn't born of bitterness. It's born of clarity. This is about proving that he belonged in the 1st round, even if the league had to wait until the 5th to figure it out. Anyone who followed college football in 2024 knows the resume: 4,134 passing yards, 37 touchdowns, Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year. Those aren't the stats of a developmental project. Those are franchise quarterback numbers. Can relentless work ethic and unshakable purpose override what draft night failed to reflect? Drop your thoughts below, and if you're ready to witness this rookie rise from overlooked to undeniable, hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. Every young quarterback dreams of becoming the guy, the face of a franchise, the next era in team history. But what happens when that dream arrives wrapped in turmoil? No welcome party, no clear path, just noise, politics, and a fan base already choosing sides. That's the reality for Dillon Gabriel. When the Browns selected him in the 3rd round, it felt like a message from the front office. We believe in you, a poised lefty with leadership potential and upside. But then came the 5th round, And with it, Shedeur Sanders. Suddenly, Gabriel wasn't the golden rookie anymore. He was just another name in a four-way quarterback logjam. When the NFL posted Gabriel in his Browns uniform, the comments section turned hostile. Give us 144. Fans demanded referencing Sanders' draft slot. What should have been a proud milestone became a social media battlefield. The digital noise is loud, but the pressure, that's real. To their credit, both rookies have kept it professional, no shots, no pettiness, just composed determination. But even silence speaks. Fans are already drawing the battle lines. Some say Gabriel's a casualty of the Sanders hype machine, and whether he acknowledges it or not, that noise creeps in. One day you're QB-owned, the next you're QB4. Don't worry about where you are in the line, Stefanski tells the room. But behind that quote lies a delicate balancing act. How do you truly evaluate four quarterbacks objectively when two of them come with media baggage and fan-fueled expectations? Should the Browns block out the noise and let performance be the only judge? Or has the Sanders storyline already taken over the show? Let me know your take in the comments. Are the Browns already too deep in the Sanders saga? Can Gabriel reclaim his momentum? And who do you think should be under center when week 1 arrives? Tap that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, because this isn't just a QB competition. It's the beginning of a franchise-defining chapter in Cleveland. This can't be brushed aside, and trust me, this one matters. When you look at a franchise that spent decades buried in obscurity, a team that became almost ritualistically synonymous with heartbreak and fan suffering, you'd expect that when the light finally starts to break through the clouds, lessons would have been learned. You'd think surely they would have developed some semblance of wisdom, some reverence for those who've worn the jersey with honor, who stepped in and held the line when everything else was falling apart. Apparently not, because in Cleveland, there are still decision makers who don't grasp the meaning of stability. They still don't comprehend the weight of experience. They still don't realize that raw talent alone does not win football games in the National Football League. Subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, and drop your thoughts in the comments, because this one deserves a real conversation. His name is Joe Flacco.
Yes.
That Joe Flacco, the same veteran who walked into the eye of a storm during the 2023 season, stabilized the ship, and dragged the Browns to the playoffs. The same 39-year-old warrior who stepped onto the field cold, zero prep time, zero chemistry with his receivers, and commanded the huddle like a Super Bowl MVP. Now, according to Bleacher Report, he could be cut. That's right, cut. Because the Browns have 4 quarterbacks in the building: Kenny Pickett, Dillon Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, Joe Flacco, and somehow Flacco is being labeled the odd man out. Forget that he's the only one with a legitimate resume, a proven record of victories, and genuine locker room respect. To some, 40 years old equals washed, irrelevant, disposable. And never mind the fact that Deshaun Watson is still recovering from torn Achilles tendons. He doesn't even have a confirmed week 1 starter, but logic, apparently that's just a luxury now. Let's deal in facts. Pickett was shown the door in Pittsburgh for a lack of command. Gabriel and Sanders are promising, sure, but they're projects, unproven, potential, not production. And Flacco delivered when it mattered most, under pressure on the road, in chaos. His $4.25 million contract won't even make a dent in the salary cap if he's released. So this isn't about money, it's about vision, or more precisely, the lack of it. The Browns coaching staff is playing with fire, risking a grave miscalculation. They're trading in stability for the illusion of a quick rebuild. But this isn't Madden, this is the NFL. You need a commander, a quarterback who can orchestrate a huddle when the crowd is roaring and the game is on the line. And somehow Cleveland is treating that leadership as if it's optional, as if it's expendable. In my view, cutting Flacco would be an egregious mistake, a disgraceful dismissal of the man who carried this team when no one else could. Look, if the long-term plan is to develop the rookies, fine, but you don't sacrifice proven leadership on a gamble. Flacco might not be the future, but he's the most dependable present the Browns have. Taking him off this roster now would be like ripping the steering wheel out of a car flying down the freeway at 100 mph just because you bought a new GPS. It's reckless. And what if Pickett flops? What if the rookies freeze under pressure? Who are you going to call then? If the Browns want respect, they need to start by respecting those who've earned it. And that starts with keeping Joe Flacco on this roster. Otherwise, they'll learn the hard way what happens when you confuse potential with preparation. Drop your take in the comments, like the video, subscribe for real talk on the Cleveland Browns. Until next time, don't confuse noise with wisdom. Keep Joe Flacco. Thank you guys. See you next video.